The political opponents of French President Emmanuel Macron could cause tremors in the European Union if they achieve a second-round victory. Whilst the far right no longer talk of Frexit or leaving the euro, some of the proposals put forward by the National Rally are contrary to European law.
Jordan Bardella a annoncé que s'il était au gouvernement, il retirerait une partie de la contribution de la France au budget de l'Union européenne. Donc évidemment, ce serait une remise en cause de l'engagement de la France. Il y a un engagement à ouvrir une négociation pour réformer la libre circulation à l'intérieur de l'espace Schengen pour la réserver aux ressortissants européens. Il y a aussi l'idée d'un contrôle de l'immigration plus strict, éventuellement soutenu par un référendum pour faire passer le droit français au-dessus du droit européen. Donc là, on serait en contradiction flagrante avec le droit européen.
The National Rally is also proposing a cut in VAT on energy, again incompatible with EU rules since tax decisions must be taken unanimously. It also wants to reverse Emmanuel Macron's pensions reform. Although this doesn't fall under the EU's remit, Macron's reform was recommended by the European Commission to bring the public deficit under control. So even without leaving the EU, the National Rally's programme would have an effect.
Plus pervers que ça d'une certaine manière. Ce n'est pas une sortie de l'Union européenne, mais c'est une remise en cause de certaines politiques européennes, en tout cas de la participation de la France aux politiques européennes ou des engagements de la France.
The left-wing parties, united under the banner of the New Popular Front, are not calling into question France's commitment to the Union. However, tensions could arise over budgetary issues.
Lorsque l'on regarde notamment la composante économique et sociale de ce programme, ça a un coût qui est chiffré à quelques 150 milliards ou 200 milliards. Et là, on retrouverait la question de la maîtrise du déficit ou de la dette publique, donc de la convergence ou en l'occurrence de la divergence de l'économie française avec l'économie de ses partenaires européens. Et puis, tout simplement, si on laisse filer ou déraper le déficit et la dette encore une fois, on sera en contradiction avec les engagements à réduire ce déficit et cette dette dans le cadre du respect du pacte de stabilité.
According to the analysts, the New Popular Front is proposing a revision of the EU's political priorities, such as an end to free trade treaties or a reform of the common agricultural policy.
Brussels believes that Meta, owner of Facebook and Instagram, is violating European digital markets law with its consent or pay policy. Since last autumn, the US company has been offering users either to give their consent to use their personal data for targeted ads or to pay to have an ad-free version. According to the Commission, Meta is obliged to offer an alternative.
We take the preliminary view that actually Meta has not shown this equivalent alternative to the end user who says no to the personal data combination.
According to Europe's leading consumer organization, Meta is not offering a real choice.
Meta has to change the choice screen that it has imposed on consumers since last autumn. The main thing is that it needs to provide freely given choice to consumers. It needs to offer a freely given consent. And especially it needs to provide an equivalent service to what consumers get today if consumers choose to not consent to the cross combination of their data across platform services.
But when asked by Euronews, a Meta spokesperson believes the company is complying with the legislation. The ad-free subscription follows the direction of Europe's highest court and complies with the DMA. We look forward to continuing a constructive dialogue with the European Commission to bring this investigation to a close. The European Commission has until March to investigate the case. If Meta is found guilty, the company will have to pay a fine of up to 10% of its global turnover.
Kensington and Bayswater is one of the most marginal seats in the United Kingdom, with just 150 votes separating the Conservatives from Labour in the last election. It's also one of the most socially divided seats in the country. In the south, upscale mansions line streets among the most expensive in the world. Walk northwards and you'll find overcrowded housing estates. As the UK prepares to head to the polls, voters living locally say the next government must tackle the cost of living crisis and chronic housing shortage.
I'd do something about the housing shortage. There are more people sleeping rough too at the moment.
We need build more homes, we need better transport, we need to actually build things and grow the economy again.
A lot of people has been deprived of, lots of things. There have never been more people homeless in the street, and I think no one is paying attention to it.
Both Labour's Keir Starmer and Conservative Prime Minister Rishi Sunak are pledging to build around 1.5 million homes in the next mandate, with Labour placing a strong emphasis on social housing. But questions remain around the financial viability of their plans as the economy shows signs of recovery after a short-lived recession last year. Economists say regardless of who will have the keys to 10 Downing Street, tough decisions have to be made to tackle a high deficit and a continuously bleak economic forecast. In Kensington, residents want politicians to come clean on the state of the economy.
Tell the truth and just be honest with the people. We haven't got any money anymore, and we need change.
People living in the richest parts of this constituency of Kensington and Bayswater earn twice as much and are expected to live up to 17 years longer than those people living in the poorest parts. These extremes of wealth and poverty epitomise a broader national problem in the run-up to this election. Across the country, people simply feel they've been left alone to deal with a crippling cost of living crisis. And people in London tell me that they've simply lost faith in politicians' ability to bring their bills down, and that the next government, whichever political colour it may be, has its work cut out to restore that broken trust. Maret Gwyn for Euronews in Kensington.
Starting this month, people working in certain Greek businesses could have to work for up to 48 hours a week. The new labour law allows more private sector companies to impose a 6-day work week on their employees. This includes 24/7 services or businesses that face an extraordinary workload.
Ο εκάστοτε εργοδότης μπορεί να υποχρεώσει, σου πει αυτό ή όχι ή τίποτα άλλο, δεν μπορείς να κάνεις κάτι άλλο. Στην Ελλάδα είμαστε. Γυρνάμε σε εποχές οι οποίες είναι παλαιότερα δεκαετιών, δεν έχουν να προσφέρουν κάτι. Το γεγονός ότι είναι υποστελεχωμένες όλες οι επιχειρήσεις δεν θα λύσει αυτό το πρόβλημα, γιατί αυτό είναι το θέμα.
Many Greek employees are angry about the new rule, arguing that it takes the country back to the days of limited labour rights. People are also pointing out that other countries have introduced a 4-day work week.
Στην Ευρώπη έξω οι ώρες εργασίας και μέρες εργασίας βαίνουν μειούμενες. Εδώ βαίνουν αυξανόμενες. Γιατί είναι δοκιμαστικό, συμβαίνει κάτι, πρέπει να βγουν και να εξηγήσουν ακριβώς τι γίνεται.
While those working a 6th day will get an extra 40% pay or 115% more if it's a Sunday, most people, especially the young, prioritise their health and work-life balance.
Ο Παγκόσμιος Οργανισμός Υγείας μας λέει ότι οι 40 ώρες είναι ήδη πολλές. Και βλέπουμε σε χώρες της Ευρώπης ότι όλο και μειώνεται το φόρτος εργασίας. Το εξαήμερο για μένα είναι κάτι το οποίο είναι απαράδεκτο και δεν πρέπει σε καμία περίπτωση να το αφήσουμε να επιβληθεί.
Αν έβλεπα ότι η δουλειά με ευθύρει 6 μέρες, δεν θα το έκανα. Δηλαδή βάζω προτεραιότητα την ψυχική μου υγεία παρά τα λεφτά.
Όπως επισημαίνουν οι περισσότεροι οικονομολόγοι, το μεγαλύτερο πρόβλημα της ελληνικής οικονομίας δεν είναι ο συνολικός χρόνος εργασίας των εργαζομένων, αλλά η παραγωγικότητα αυτής της εργασίας. Σύμφωνα με τα στοιχεία της Ευρωπαϊκής Επιτροπής, η ονομαστική παραγωγικότητα ανά ώρα εργασίας στην Ελλάδα είναι περίπου 40% χαμηλότερη από το μέσο ευρωπαϊκό όρο. Σε αυτό συντείνουν μία σειρά από παράγοντες. Έλλειψη επενδύσεων, κυρίως στις νέες τεχνολογίες, ανθρώπινο δυναμικό χωρίς τις απαραίτητες δεξιότητες και εκτεταμένη γραφειοκρατία που επιβαρύνει την ελληνική επιχειρηματικότητα.
The average working week in Greece is the highest in the EU with 39.8 hours per week, followed by Poland and Cyprus. The European average is 36.1 hours per week, while the fewest hours are worked in the Netherlands with 32.2 hours.
The US Supreme Court has sent former President Donald Trump's immunity case back to a lower court in Washington. In a historic ruling, the justices said for the first time that former presidents can be shielded from prosecution for official acts taken when in office, but not for private acts. The justices felt it was up to the lower courts to decide how this ruling would apply to Trump's case. The former president is charged with election interference for pressuring officials to reverse the 2020 result.
Portugal have made it to the quarter-finals of Euro 2024 after surviving the first penalty shootout of the tournament. Diogo Costa was the absolute superhero of the night as he saved all of Slovenia's shots. Cristiano Ronaldo missed a key penalty in the extra time, but then scored the opening shootout for Portugal. His side will take on France in the Friday quarter-final. Les Bleus qualified too after beating Belgium 1-0 thanks to an own goal, as Jan Vertonghen deflected into his own net a shot by France's Randal Kolo Muani. Belgium confirmed their negative trend against the neighbour, as they always lost to France at all major tournaments. At the same time, France's poor scoring record remains a concern. The round of 16 ends on Tuesday with Romania-Netherlands and Austria-Turkey.